Hey, everybody. I'm Tommy Skibble, and you're on the lifeboat. What's happening? Meredith Lynn, good to see you. Sandy Wendy, how are you? Iced Autumn, glad you're here. Mischief Managed, Lacey Silver. Honey, how are you? Scoob, Atypical Paul, I'm glad you're here. The Audrey Gore, my other's keeper. Hey, Tracy. Kate. Bella. Hello, Allison. Charlie. As much as I love you, I still want to say the Midnight Show. It's just such a great name. It really is. Jobo Baggins, Bayou Babe, JD, Anthony Powell. Good to see you, my man. Hello, Lisa, New Jersey. Matrix Rabbit, Tommy Bird, on time. What the hell happened this morning? Duffster Rhymes, Lori Hart, Tree Hugger, Kathy. Hello, Mary Taekwondo, Christy Covington. Good to see you. Hey, Doc. Brianna, Rexican Messler. There's Bacon Meat. Bacon is meat candy. How the heck are you? Well, I'm working on it. I appreciate you, by the way. I'm working on it. It's I'm working on it. Danny's mom, good to see you. You know what, Scoob? You're going to hang in there because we need you. We really do. This journey sometimes is really hard. I caught crap last night, believe it or not, for that video. You can't catch a break. I'm gonna probably you know what I gotta do, I think, is just when I start feeling like I want to get loaded, I'm just gonna sneak over to one of the other channels that do what I do. Right? And just go and work with you on another channel. The really incredible thing is that I pinned the comment. Her name's Rebecca. We'll make her famous real quick. I pinned the comment. Here's why I'm saying this. Normally I wouldn't. And don't beat on her. That's not why I'm doing it. But what blows me away is this person's left 22 comments on the lifeboat, a couple of which says, I'm praying for you. I don't know whether or not you realize I can look at every comment you've ever left, right? If you're new to YouTube, I can look at every comment you ever left. So when your 23rd comment is something just ugly, it really makes you wonder what happened to you between 22 and 23. Sorry if I did something to bum you out between your 22nd and your 23rd comment. And I shouldn't care. And the sad thing, people, the sad thing is, and I'm doing a show about this here coming up, but the sad thing is, this is what happens to YouTubers. A couple of you have reached out. A couple of you have left comments. A couple of you have sent emails. But people who say, you know what, I've been on YouTube for 15 years, which blows me away. I didn't even realize there's 15 years of YouTube, but apparently there is. And they say they watch so many content creators who are the greatest people in the world, and you get to know them and you work with them, and then basically what happens is the world stomps them out of the practice of talking to anybody. I'm not going to let that happen. If you think you don't dig what I do, it's not an airport. You can depart without having to announce it. I didn't even block the person because I think they probably need the boat, right? Yesterday was a frustration of a day. And it's something I tried to share with people so that you get kind of an idea of what it is to be sober and to work through things. Because sometimes you're going to have hump days, right? They're not all good. They're not all good if you read every single sobriety book on planet Earth and you journal 6 times a day. You're still going to have crap days. And those crap days are almost always tied to situations from which we have zero control. We do not like not having control. It's one of the reasons that most of us started getting loaded in the first place, right? Something is stolen from you. You know, that control that you felt like you had on a Monday isn't there on a Tuesday. And that feeling of not having control over an aspect of your life or all of your life or whatever drives people to self-medicate. They look for something that's going to make them feel like, oh, all right, this is okay. And the sad thing is the term self-medicate, there's a lot of people that use it improperly or people that don't get it. If you took the vast majority of people who have drug problems in America and you could separate them from the world that they live in and put them in a room with 35 people with a lot of letters after their names, what you would find is that there probably is a medication. Right? There's probably a small chemical imbalance, but there's a medication that when found makes that person right as rain. And we, as modern animals, I don't know what the hell we are, but we search from drug to drug to drug to drug to drug, subconsciously looking for what we need. Society has deemed us scumbags for that journey. Now, if you make $600,000 a year and you don't buy your dope in increments of 10 to 20 bucks, trying every one you can, if you go in and you sit down with that team of doctors I was talking about in the beginning, if you just happen to be really, really lucky and you had some parents that saw what was going on, because back in the day, people didn't even realize this kind of crap happened. But if you were fortunate enough to have somebody that saw what was going on and could get you into those doctors, there is some really amazing things being done with medication. Does everybody need it? No, but everybody needs therapy. I have yet to meet a human being where I thought, nope, they don't need any help. Even if you meet someone and they seem like they've got their life perfectly together, there's a reason it seems like that. For real. They have an entire framework that has been established to hold their life together. It's like a scaffolding. And it has to do with stuff like organization, right? It has to do with stuff like a rigid framework of what it is you believe. If you can lay down what you believe, and I don't care, I'm not talking about God, although if you happen to believe in God, that's a huge one. But if you can lay down your beliefs, if you have a criteria of, hey, guess what? This is who I am. I think that the reason this is the first time in my life that I have reached any kind of success that didn't involve me breaking the law in some way is because for the first time in my life, I've got a framework that is constructed around the outside of my life. Yesterday was just a bitch for a lot of reasons. And you know what? I don't want us to get into most of the reasons. And unfortunately, if you don't, it sounds like you're leading people on or you're trying to create. But you know what? The point of yesterday's video was this. It's okay to want to get high. It doesn't mean you lost the sobriety game. It doesn't mean you're going to get scorned by the people in the sobriety game. You're going to have those days. And it's better to say that than lie about it, because those itty bitty lies have a way of making us feel really relaxed about itty bitty lies. And when you relax about stupid lies, the bigger one's that, right? Starts to gain momentum. Anybody catch Reese's Show yesterday? Patty, you're organizing. It's a beautiful thing. And a Wednesday. Good morning, all. I've been up for a while organizing my clothes for my trip in April. Woohoo! I'm sorry it was a bad day yesterday. Well, thank you. I truly wish you all well. Enjoy being here. Now I'm listening. Thank you, Patty. You saw Reese's Show yesterday, JD. Good. It's a pretty rugged show. Really was. It was kind of hard to watch. Yesterday was a bitch for me too. I just love being called that too. A whole lot of other things. You know what? Boy, there's just, Have I heard about a YouTuber named? I have not, Hans Christian Schwartz. Perhaps I will have to look that up because I've not heard that. But it sounds interesting. Speaking of which, a little interesting. I've been Queen of Awkwardness says decade plus sober and still want to get high from time to time. It's our old coping mechanism. We overcome if we are lucky. I agree. Now, if you happen to sit in a chair where you do 2 sobriety meetings a day, I think it's disingenuous to feel like getting loaded and not telling people. I don't know. Kind of seems like it's what we do here. Maybe I'm wrong. Kathleen, God bless you. When Reese has become a friend of mine, I don't think that's a shocker to anybody here. And she and I flirt and joke and everything else, but she's absolutely become a very close friend of mine. And it's painful to watch friends going through things that you can't do anything about. Another very close friend of mine, Lady Crispin, is really going through it. And it's just, I've got people that I care about greatly that between the two of them are about 11 or 13,000 miles from where I am. And nothing you can do to help either of them. And that's a hump situation, especially for somebody who's addicted to drugs their entire freaking life. I just don't do well with things that I can't have control over. And I want to be Mr. Wolf. I really do. That's what I want to roll in and fix things. And then there's a whole host of crap in my life that I don't talk to you people about because you know what? Everybody should have maybe 1 or 2 things they don't talk about. But those things that I don't share here, the things that I share only with my with the people I pay, oddly enough. Got a lot going on. Stray. It's an interesting way to put it. I hope everyone is as well as they can be today. I like it. Patty, I like that too. I like that too. Miss Sunrise Dawn. It's funny that you say that because I thought the same thing. I really did. Yeah. It's funny. There's a tonight on the lifeboat. I am doing an interview with Reese. I'm not doing a show with Reese. We're not coming on and clowning. I'm doing an interview with Reese. I have watched Reese interviewed by professionals, people that are really good at it. I don't need to mention their names. You probably watched a lot of the interviews she's done, but she's been interviewed by some really great interviewers. I think I have a completely different set of questions concerning Scientology and Reese's story. But I would like to tell that story here. I would like people to see that. You have been on the brink of doing of drinking or abusing. Me too. Me too. It's a good thing to say out loud. Honestly, I find that, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, that feeling that you're uncomfortable and you want to self-medicate, right? You want to make that feeling of discomfort go away on a scale of 1 to 10, right? When I start getting near a 5 or a 6, I start talking about it. I start telling people about it, right? Because if I start telling people about it at 8 or 9, I'm probably not going to pull back from the edge. By that point, I have gone from the first to the second to the third, phase of relapse. And I've been pretty open and honest about the fact that I have been in and out of relapse now for I can't tell you how long. And I don't mean I'm using. If you do not know what I mean, then you've never watched any of my relapse shows. And if you go, oh, I haven't, I'd love to see one. I apologize, but I bet I've done 100.5 of them. So there are a bunch out there, and they'll have the word relapse in them. Just, they're worth checking out. The 3 phases of relapse. But Tommy Bird, you know what? There's just so many people right now that are struggling. And there are so many people right now that are struggling that I've been doing this now. We're starting our fourth year here shortly an entity. Right? We're about to finish our third year, I guess is the better way to put it. But that's about 1,000 days of being a lifeboat. And over the course of that time, it's been wild to watch the lifers, and I say that in the best sense of the word, right? The people who have decided that sobriety and living their best life is something that is going to be a part of their day every day. And we all go through these periods of riding high, kicking the crap out of it, right? And then we go through periods where we're not doing so well, and it's funny. It is hard to talk about, Danny. First of all, we're told at a really young age, right? And it's not, I did it, every parent did it, right? When your child starts to cry, does anyone go, yeah, let that out? Let that flow. Do what you do. Let me sit down with you. No, you go, don't do that. No, come on, stop crying. Stop, right? How many times, seriously, has somebody told you to stop crying? Literally every time you start, from the time that you take your first breath, right? I think every once in a while you just need to pat someone on the back and go, let it rip. We're not very good at letting emotions out because it's just not fun. We'd rather, believe it or not, right? Pay about $12 for a ticket, $8 or $9 for some popcorn, and $17 for a 64-ounce soda, and watch other people pretend to have emotions, right? But we honestly, as a society and as human beings, we're becoming more Spock-like all the time. And the less emotions that people tend to show, I think that, I don't know, we're certainly a different breed. Every day someone will send me an email that says something along the lines, and they're very creative, but something along the lines of, man, they don't make us anymore, do they? They have discontinued this model, haven't they? It's just different. That's okay, Nachos Mom. 8 minutes behind. We'll let you. By the time she hears that, it'll be about 8 minutes from now. Today is your mother's birthday. Somehow I wish I could be happy. She is sick, dealing with age-related dementia, and now needs full-time care. Something she is not happy about. Oh, man, my thoughts and prayers are with you. My thoughts and prayers are with you, Donna. Ooh, that's so hard. It really is. It's so hard. There is something you can Google called the Alzheimer's prayer. It will absolutely tear your heart out. I've had it printed out. I've thought of reading it on here, but there's no way I would even get close to getting through it. But it's sad because the people that we love are checking out, right? And unfortunately, sometimes it just gets bad. It's my biggest fear in life, to be honest with you. This is probably going to go over really big with the people at YouTube, but I am giving you permission to slap the next person that says that to you in the head. How's that? And when you do, go, hey, don't come mad at me. Captain Tommy told me to do that. Just, not just a good one in the ear, like one of those, and just go, sorry. Tommy told me to do that. If somebody says to you, what do you have to be depressed about? Ear clap them, right? And if you're good sized and you're confident, get them from both sides. Because that's so stupid that it absolutely deserves somebody to get hit in the head. I'm sorry. I love your mom. not even playing games. I love your mom. Mom was a psych nurse, and she used to say, just have to get through the next 5 minutes. I usually say 8 because of the, but as a psych nurse, I think 5 probably makes sense. As an addict, 8 minutes is usually the threshold, but that is uniquely for cravings, right? That's uniquely for cravings. And let's be honest, there's a lot of us here that are hurting or having a bad day, and it's not always cravings that are doing it. Right? There's all kinds of other things that can ruin your day. It just doesn't have to be cravings. It could be anything. It can be the inability to do things that you want to do. It can be the inability to converse with people you want to converse with. Write letters to those you cannot converse with. I promise you, this is therapeutic. Is it as good as the real thing? Of course not. If we could do the real thing, we wouldn't be writing letters, right? I wrote one yesterday. I did. And then I ripped it up. It's the idea, you understand? It's the getting of it out. If the person that you need to communicate with, you can't communicate with, well, then just do a little one-sided conversing. Tell you what else is setting me off. I know I'm probably a joy to be with today, but I'll tell you something else that's setting me off is it is Wednesday. And on hump day, I get an email and a phone call from Q. It happens every Wednesday. Now, there are Wednesdays it doesn't happen because the place will be on lockdown, right? That kind of crap happens all the time. But I know how to go and look to see if the yard's on lockdown, and it's not. And I know it is catastrophizing, but my head goes to the worst possible case scenario. And I'm not trying to bum out his mom, who I know is listening, because she is also catastrophizing. And I know that it is stupid. Do you know what happened? I promise you. Last night at about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, they walked up, right? And they were like, yo, you're coming to medical. And he said, what? And they said, we're doing an upper or a lower GI. They probably did some kind of a medical test that they got scheduled on him, and they don't want him eating. And they will not trust an inmate to not eat. So they will take you from your cell and put you in the SHU just for the night. Then they take you directly from the SHU to medical. But you can't send an email or get to a phone. And I promise you that's what's happening. I promise you. But because I'm in recovery, because Mama Q is in recovery, we catastrophize. We go to the worst possible case scenario. But even if you don't, right? I was doing this yesterday too. There are people in my life that I have the inability to communicate with. If you can't communicate with somebody, very often you create a narrative for what's going on in their life in your head. It's really dangerous, right? Sit down and write down in your journal what you hope is going on in their life. For real. Put it out into the universe. Create a better version of what might be going on in your head. If you find yourself catastrophizing, Mama Q, why don't you go write down the best case scenario? Go in there and write down the best case scenario. The reason that your boy isn't reaching out to both of us this morning is because Unicor is going to be honoring him for, what are we at, 32 years of service? The prison is going to have a Q day in honor of the fact that he's gone this long without a write-up. Let's go the other way. Let's come up with some positive stuff. Because now you've got me bummed out, Mama Q. I love you, but catastrophizing. If you get me going in that direction, right? If you get the wind at my back, I can do that really quickly. I can do that better than anybody, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just not. I've been in on and off blinding rage the past few weeks. I just took off in a dead sprint against these houseless folks because my package got stolen. I had to apologize when I got it. Oh, been there, done that. Been there, done that. You want to hear a horrific story? I was in prison and I was in a state facility, not in a federal facility. And I was on a softball team, white guy softball team, and it was more fun than a federal prison. I knew a bunch of guys in the yard because it was my city prison basically. So I knew people from there, and we actually had some laughs on that yard. But when the baseball season ended and we all put away all of our equipment and whatever, and you wait for, there's actually like 2 baseball seasons a year. But between the baseball seasons, there was a guy who lived in the section we lived in, which we called the dungeon. So like 8 guys back there, and the cells didn't lock. It was lovely. We could play cards all night, do whatever. But one of the guys got run out of there for stealing dope from one of the white guys. That's called a career ender. What that means is he can never go to another yard anywhere except a PC yard. You guys have heard me talk about protective custody and what that means. He'll be there with guys like Danny Masterson and people that touched kids and all kinds of freaks. He will not be with anybody that's just a solid peckerwood or a solid black guy or whatever who got arrested for just breaking the law. He's going to be with freaks and weirdos. But that's what happens when you steal. Cell thieves are considered the lowest form of humanity. The guy that he stole from, right, he lost 2 1-gram bags of heroin. And a gram of heroin in prison is about $750 back then. So this was not a small theft. This was like $1,500 prison money. That's a lot of cash, right? So they tuned this guy up, beat him up, and then sent him on his way packing. And then the season comes to a halt, and we start getting warmer weather. And I'm in this guy's cell, and the cells were unusual. They were single cells, and they had a closet. Now you couldn't open a door, but it was like built into the wall, and it had 3 shelves. And the top shelf was about 6 feet tall. And my friend pulled out his cleats, and when he did, 2 1-gram bags of heroin fell out of one of the cleats. And I was standing there when it happened, and they went boom, boom, boom on the cell floor. I knew what they were before they hit the ground. He knew what they were before they hit the ground, and he knew that I knew what they were before they hit the ground. They were the 2 grams of heroin that some guy got accused of stealing, got the crap kicked out of him for by a bunch of dudes, and then got shipped to Lovelock, which was a protective custody yard. The dude that did that, that's about as bad as it gets. And he looked at me because if I walk out of there to the shot caller and I go, hey, guess what just happened? This is a complex thing, right? I don't know what you do. How do you get a guy back out of a PC? Like, I don't even know that this is something that's possible. I really don't know if this is something that's even possible. Thank you, Dennis. I really appreciate you. And I'm glad to hear that. I really am. But you talk about freaking out because you thought somebody took the package. This dude, we sat for about, now keep in mind, this is 2 grams of heroin in a prison. Any other time, we're diving on top of this like it's a fumble in an NFL football game. Are you kidding? We're the 2 happiest dudes on planet Earth. When these 2 bags fell out, there's no dope on the yard currently. There's literally nothing. Guys are smoking some pot or whatever, but there's no heroin. And I looked down at that bag. I didn't move. I looked at him. He was looking at the other bag. I just kept looking back and forth at him like, you got to be kidding. And he went, oh, rock. I went, dude. He's like, oh, man, you don't know how bad I feel. I said, wow. I can't imagine how bad you feel. I'm like, what are you going to do about it? Right? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to fix this dude's life? Now, I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know whether or not dude, how much time dude had, the guy that got shipped off the yard. But no matter how much time he had left, he's going to be doing it on PC. Here's the scumbag part, right? The guy looked at me and said, keep it real. He's like, look, man, no one knows this. You take one, I'll take the other. I took it. Not one of my more proud moments. I mean, it wasn't. If you're watching this and that was your bag of dope, I apologize, truthfully, but that's addiction, right? That's addiction. Hey, that used to be my motto, by the way, right? If you're not wasted, the day is. That used to be my motto. I understand it. And you know what? I'm not mad at you for coming here high. I really am not. No, I might take your comments down because we're not trying to trigger anybody, but stick around and listen, right? Truthfully. Yeah, you know what? Take it back though. I mean, honestly, again, at the time you start talking yourself through this, you're like, look, the guy's gone. He's already had his butt kicked. He's been at Level Up for what, 5-6 months? But what it really came down to was I was a dope fiend. Right? If it was me today, I would have said to him, you're going to fix this. You're going to go to the shot collar. You're going to tell him what you did. Now, had to be the scariest thing in the world for the dude. I probably could have said to him, you're going to give me both of those back. What you're going to do? And he probably would have done it. Because if I were to have told the shot caller what he did, they probably would have killed him. Shannon, I understand that. I get it. I really do. And you know what? It's okay to say that out loud. It's okay to say that out loud. I'm still struggling today. I'm not getting high. I'm journaling a lot. I'm going to be working out. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking. And you know what, people? There are situations that are going on. By the way, on everything I love, these situations have that much to do with anyone who is on YouTube. These have nothing to do with that. These are personal things that are just about me. But there are things that are going on in my life that are going to make an undeterminate period of time rough. So I'm going to need a little help. And you've always been pretty good with that in the past, right? For what it's worth, I am a crew member on the lifeboat. I get to talk a lot more than everybody else, but I am absolutely just a crew member on the lifeboat. So there are going to be times that, like Shannon Smith, I will want to get wasted. I'm going to come here and tell everybody that. And then we're going to get through it. And at the end of a 1 hour period of time, we should all be in good shape because 8 minutes is what it takes. By the way, I have not put up a poll so that you could vote about moving the early morning boat. However, from those that chose to reach out on Messenger, send text, those who chose to voice their opinion, the vast majority split, right? Yesterday, we went 2 hours later than we normally go. So it was about 7 o'clock on California time. A lot of you have said, how about splitting it and just going 1 hour later? So instead of going like starting 34 minutes ago, we would be starting, 30 minutes from now. I am going to put up a poll and we're going to find out. And if we're going to find out, I want the most number of people on every single show that we do. How's that? That makes sense? People get a lot more out of the lifeboat when they're in the comments section. I once told a fellow recovering addict I wanted to get high. He said something that stuck in my head. Just because you want something doesn't mean you have to have it. Here's the thing. That number one, I love that. But number two, I have done this about 1,000 times, right? Maybe more. And here's what I know, right? Here's what I know. I know that if I go get loaded today, right? If I go and I get loaded today, I'll feel better for 8 hours. I absolutely will. The things that are bothering me will feel as if they're gone for 8 hours, but they will not be gone. And the thing that I have learned is, and it took me 46 years, right, to figure this out. But you have two options, and one of them is running from your problems, running from all of the things that make you want to use, and you run from them by getting high. Trouble is, they keep running. Okay? They keep following you. You can run from your problems all day. They don't stay where they're at. They're right behind you. And when you finally have to face them, you're exhausted, right? I ran for 3 decades. So by the time I had to turn around and face all of the crap in my life, I didn't have anything left to fight. Nothing. Unfortunately, I met a guy that had a way to slowly build that back up, right? Into something that started as a mustard seed of confidence, and a belief that maybe I'm not a piece of crap. Maybe it's the drug, maybe all of the crap that I do is because of the morphine molecule. Maybe it's not that I was born evil, maybe it's not that I'm weak. Maybe this disease crap that people have been telling me for so long, and I want you to know, I used to laugh. I used to laugh. They would send people in and they would say, well, addiction is a disease. And we would walk out of the room and I would look at my friend Lurch and I would go, dude, I'm feeling a little sick. I think I got a disease coming on, right? We just thought it was the funniest thing in the entire world. But I thought A Catcher in the Rye was funny the first time I read it. It's really funny how things over time tend to evolve. Running is tiring work. Running is it's a great book. It's one of my favorites. Matrix Rabbits, not true. Not true. When somebody else reached out to me and they said, you know what? It has to be almost refreshing to be able to blame the bad decisions that you make on drugs. And here's the thing. I blame the bad decisions that I make on my inability to cope. The drugs were the symptom of my inability to cope. Nobody in their right mind robs banks. Nobody in their right mind sticks needles in their arms. Nobody in their right mind. Okay, so I came to the realization I wasn't in my right mind. I didn't get the get out of jail free card because of the dope. I got the get out of jail free card because I was not in my right mind. Truthfully, like for my healing and my self-forgiveness, right? That's the way I go on this. I'm quite illiterate, but I read a lot. That's pretty funny. V, please take care of my sister. Wow. Why, thank you. Well, she's here. She's wow, she has a very unusual look. She's in the basket, but she's really using the edge of it as a pillow. She's kind of like, she's looking almost very, very human-like at the moment. I'll show it to you in a little while. I know this. Oh, do I know this? This is something that I am so familiar with. The weight of my issues are on high alert today. I want to either get high or go back to bed or both. I know Ostrich Syndrome doesn't help. You know what? Yeah. The truth of the matter is, this is just what I'm talking about. And I hate to use you as an example, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this is what I did for 40 years, right? Every single morning, I used to talk about this, but my thought used to be a little bit different. My thought was always, I would wake up in the morning and I would open my eyes, and I don't know how this started, but it started decades ago. And I would think to myself, would you rather have $1 million right now, so that you didn't have to worry about, dope or anything else, or just go back to sleep and not wake up? And that usually was my thought every single morning. And on the mornings that I thought, I wish I could just go back to sleep and not wake up, those were the days that it was almost impossible to get up and go steal. And sometimes I could, Sometimes I would lay in bed sick and just say, you know what, this is it. I'm going to beat this. I'm just going to kick this. And then by day 2, that I would be so disgustingly sick that I would, you'd be in a store, and when you're that dope sick and you're going to steal something, you don't care if every single person in there sees you do it. I'm not kidding. It got so ridiculous. I would walk into stores, pick stuff up, look at them, and walk out like, what are you going to do? Because the desperation was so bad. We have added another kitty. Or are we sticking with Lady Squirrel? Do you mean, have we added that? As of right now, Lady Squirrel is the only cat in the house. As of now, Squirrel is the only cat in the house. This thing that we signed up for, right? This living our best life stuff. And I'm not saying recovery, because a bunch of you don't get high, never have. Doesn't matter. You understand? It doesn't matter. I'm not Jordan Peterson, right? I'm not splitting the atom, people. But it doesn't take a bunch of letters after your name to realize that the advent of stuff like this, right? And all of the things that are going on around us takes a group of people who were designed way different and puts us in a really unique situation, right? The people that really studied human nature and studied human interaction, and the people who thought first, you know what? It's not just food, shelter, and water, right? You need more than that to live. You actually need human interaction. You actually need affection and love and all of these intangibles, right? The first people who came up with those concepts, who studied those, would have lost their mind if they had seen this. If they had known what this was going to do. People, we don't have a clue. We don't have a clue what this is going to mean to our society in 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. We're living in the middle of the biggest experiment in history. And I, for one, don't need to watch the rest of it play out. I remember what it was like, right, in the 80s, where the average kid spent 4 hours a day with their friends, not in school. That's an average, no lie. Right? 4 hours a day. So when school was over, you just went and hung out, right? You got with your fellas. Now, admittedly, maybe I was riding around smoking pot and doing things you weren't supposed to do. But you know what? It was interaction, right? We went and hung out. We hung out with girls and we did things, right? No one does this anymore. This, honestly, go research this. Now it's less than an hour a day. What the hell do? Well, they run home and play on their phone. And you know something insane? Go to any school today at 3:00, right? And you will watch them walk home like this the entire way, right? The entire way. They're not even watching where they're going. And they're getting it in 6, 8, 10-second bites. If your kid was watching 3-hour long form, that's what the founders, the founding fathers of the internet thought would happen. They thought that the computers, the linking of every computer meant all the information on earth will be at everybody's fingertips with the stroke of a button. And instead, we want to discuss whether or not P. Diddy's gay. Not the fact that he is assaulted, right, with the use of drugs or otherwise, mountains of people, allegedly. Is he gay? Who freaking cares what his sexual orientation is? I mean, really, that's the hang up? Holy crap. Allegedly, this is one of the biggest dirtbags on planet Earth. Allegedly, this dude went from being a guy that, was a runner at a record studio to being a mogul in a really quick period of time. People really wonder. I did a show a while back where I said, I'm doing this Diddy show just to go on the record. This dude was to music what Epstein was to politics. There you go. So that's what I'm going to say. Or let me rephrase that. Was he? Okay, there you go. The legality of that or some such. Yeah, I mean, but it's amazing. The rumors that come out about him, I'm going to be covering all of them. I don't really care about the gay part. I just don't care. Like that's the part. And if when you go to do research, you know how much of that you got to wade through. I'm like, good Lord, man, could we get to the part like because he's being charged with things, right? You wouldn't believe how hard it is to get to that, right? To get to the parts of the story where you're actually finding out what he's accused of, because the big thing is, dude, gay. Yeah, I don't care whatsoever about that part. Wow, Mountain Girl, what a very nice thing to say. I really appreciate you saying that. That's very kind. And I would love to believe that's true. That's awesome. Oh, don't you love how cats do this? Sorry. Thank you. I don't know how to say your name. How about Onio, Onionya, 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 Onionja? Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I think sharing my struggles is how I'm staying sober. Um, Whistleblowing good witch says, and I get it. I think I'm okay. Thank you. Doc says, get a colonoscopy. As soon as my addict said, ooh, ER equals pain pills. I said, ooh, and we're going to tell them what an addict I am too. Yeah. I have actually had a very long talk with a doctor once, and you can do this, but I'm telling you, you're shoving all your chips into the middle of the table. But the next time you have a talk with your doctor, say to them, I am an unbelievable drug addict. I am an over the top addict when it comes to opiates. I have a struggle with it. And because of that, I struggle with anything else that kind of takes you in that direction. So you couldn't write me a script for Valium, or you can't write me a script for there's stuff I shouldn't take. Or if you do, if I need to have a prescription for that, because sometimes you do, then you need to have it with someone else. It has to be something that's doled out in case of emergency, but it's not something you could have in your pocket, right? And if you really communicate that to your doctor, that can end up on a medical file. Because when I go in and talk to doctors now, they'll go, oh, and you've struggled in the past with addiction, correct? It's all over my file. And for the most part, it keeps them from saying stupid things like, have you tried, muscle relaxers? Yeah, I sure have. Love them. On the flip side of that, there are some doctors that don't get. You're right. No one gets a colonoscopy for drugs, but it was the first place my head would have gone to if I hadn't had a couple of dozen of them. But the first place that your head would go, it makes perfect sense to me. My don't. You understand that if you have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and you really have it, right? You're not someone seeking drugs or whatever, but you have this. They treat it with amphetamines, and the idea being that amphetamines in the proper dosage brings the focus in and gets the background noise and all the things that keep you from being able to focus. It sort of gets those things and moves them away. It's why someone who doesn't have ADHD tweaks when they do this stuff, but some other people who have it will just start to bring it into focus, and they play with the levels until they get where they want. I have done a ton of meth. It's not my drug of choice, but it allowed me to do my drug of choice for a much longer period of time. And then during those times when I wasn't, like when I first got out of prison, not this time, but the previous time when I was married, I didn't start doing heroin. I started doing meth, right? Because that's what was first introduced sort of into my environment. And then from there, that just, everything's always going to lead me back because it's fun. And then my brain goes, no, this isn't it. Right. Go get it. So the neurologists, the people, they say things like, so we know you're struggling and the symptoms, early onset dementia kind of symptoms or whatever. You know what really helps with focus? Ritalin, Adderall, Dexedrine, or Dizoxin. Good thinking. Good thinking, because that would really help. You know what? Here's the thing. We always live to see another day, right? We always live to see another day. We're going to have excellent days. Honestly, people, I have more good days than I have bad days. I have way more good days than bad days. Now, are the number of bad days on the increase? They are. Well, when you're 14, there aren't any. There are things that happen, but I mean, physical pain and the things that happen that to you, as you grow. When you're young, it's fun and life is. But as you get older, right, the number of things that can make you have a bad day tend to increase. The number of trips to the doctor's office, right? Going to the bathroom 40 times a day instead of 20. Just the normal kinds of things that happen when you begin to get older, make it a little bit tougher. But you know what? Let's see. I truthfully can't tell you how many banks I robbed. I know people don't believe that with my memory, but I can't. Enough. And I lived to see another day. I destroyed 2 families, and lived to see another day. Lost kids, got them back, lost them. Every day the sun comes up, right? Until it doesn't. And it's like the dialectic behavioral training. No matter what is going on in your life, there is a huge and symbol, right? I wanted to get high yesterday, and that's okay. It's okay. But for me, it's not okay to want to get high and not say it. Because when I put that stuff away it goes into a closet and it's not stacking there in the bottom, right? From the very first one I put in, it just starts pressing on that door. From the very first thing I say, I'm not going to cope with this. These guys don't want to hear this. They want to hear fun stuff. They want to hear that I'm happy. There you go, Lori. I understand completely. And you understand, people? Same exact thing. Same exact thing. I want to eat an entire cake. I'm not doing it, but I want to. I completely understand. I feel you. I'm trying to keep it down under a pot. You know what? It's going to blow up. Let it out. I've said this. I don't know how many other ways I can say it. My favorite is this. If there is something inside that is really bothering you, like, you know what? I want to get high. If I don't let it out here, right? It's going to come out here. It's going to come out here. It's going to tear a hole somewhere in me to escape. I would rather control where that goes. So I'm going to go here now. Oh, wow. Does that sound good? Riding the 10-speed I won out of a Honeycombs box with the fluorescent plastic things on the wheels, playing on the playground, swinging on swings and jumping into dirt, building a pillow fort. Well, listen, all joking aside, I still build pillow forts. I still do that. It's I don't see any reason to stop building pillow forts. And I may have bought a pink Schwinn bike from the 70s just the other day, actually. Yeah. I mean, we got to get old, but we don't have to grow old. For God's sakes, let's not get silly. Thank you, Lacey Silver. Very kind. You were talking to me. My son's here too. I'm sorry, I'm just picking on you. You probably said that because my son is here and my daughter isn't. But I myself, like Linus, still have my security blanket. I think mine got stolen by my last wife, but I had it up until then. It made it, I had it for about 40 some odd years. My last wife stole that, along with a lot of other stuff. Probably not the time of day for cedar. Pillow forts are the bomb, says Stephanie. Yeah, no, they really are. You know, I am really addicted to the concept right now of the this couch, the what's it called? Love sack, the love sack couch. You want to be able to build the ultimate in pillow forts. You need this couch. Now, this couch costs about the same amount of money as a Prius. However, you could put together a pillow fort that it would be the envy of all pillow fort builders on planet Earth. And I think that would be worth the money. I'm just saying. I think that would be worth the money. And it was, I don't know, I would be far more happy. We did build some pretty serious forts back in the day. If you were interested in building forts or shooting crossbows or doing any kind of stupid things like that, then I was probably the cool dad. You may not believe this, and it's too late to report me to Child Protective Services anyway. But we went out once. My son and myself and his uncle Johnny went out to shoot BB guns. Now, not regular BB guns. These were horrifically accurate. These were competition pellet guns. These were guns that are very, very expensive, very, very accurate. Yeah, we were out in the middle of nowhere shooting at a water heater. And it's a place where people go to shoot. So there was a water heater there that was just, it had 1,000,001 holes in it. And we found a 22 cartridge. If you've ever seen a 22 cartridge, the end of it is about that big. They're very, very small. And they don't have a primer. You hit anywhere on the rim. Now, again, we're not firing guns. We're firing air rifles. These just fire out a thing of air. But on the ground is one of these bullets. And we stuck it in the water heater. And I said to Spanky, if it was possible to shoot this from the backside, it would go off. Now, we would need to be a long way away because, but Spanky, from the very first time that he ever air rifle, it works off of a cartridge of air, like it's compressed CO2. And when you screw this cartridge in, normally you get about 125 shots or whatever. In the ones that we're talking about, you got about 25 shots because this thing put a whole lot of air out of that thing at once. But Spanky's ability to, he, as a kid, I would say, all right, listen, you don't pull the trigger, you squeeze it. And you want to let all your air out. Don't close one eye, like all the things you tell. And you tell kids that, and they don't do any of them. I told Spanky that he did absolutely everything we told him to do. And he would hit targets I couldn't see, right? Like I was already too old to be able to see. But for the first time we showed him this little thing, he's like, I can shoot that. We were so far back, it was ridiculous. But I said, all right, then we got to get behind the car because you don't know what's going to. So we were using the car door like we were behind. Spanky went, poof, hit this thing again. It wasn't much bigger than the pellet he was firing, but it was one of those days where his uncle and I walked away, and I just said, he probably could do this for a living. I mean, he was so young, but I didn't really want my son to. Didn't seem like something that would be a really good thing to. I know it sounds terrible. I didn't think it was a great idea to encourage that. Maybe I should have. But I was never really freaked out by air rifles. But I figured if that's the area we were going, the next one was going to go bang, and that was scary to me. But tree forts are cool. Brianna, you now live in Arizona. For everyone else who lives in Arizona, there is a place in Tucson called the Bacon. I'm not a smart man, people. Spanky, you remember the name of it? It's the Bacon something burger, the Bacon Terror, Bacon. I'm not smart. I'm going to be announcing it on the next show we do anyway. But Johnny Scoville and myself and Spanx Calhoun are going to be in downtown Tucson, Arizona this Sunday. And we are hoping Thunder. There you go. It's the Bacon Thunder Burger. Bacon Thunder Burger apparently is the greatest burger place in all of Arizona. I have been told this by so many Arizonians. I'm not just pitching this. This is people from Arizona who have said, no, this is amazing. So on Sunday, we are going over there for the, are you ready? The Tommy and Johnny Scoville burgers. We're unveiling the Tommy and Johnny Scoville burger. Yes, I am doing a show tonight with Reese, Lady Hummingbird, to be sure. I am doing an interview tonight with Reese. This is not a show that you've seen before, but we're going to be announcing the Bacon Thunder Burger again a bunch over the course of the remainder of the week, because I do want you guys to come out. I want to meet as many of you as we can. So if you're in the Tucson area, or if you're in Phoenix and you want to take a ride down, we're going to be there. We're going to announce the times and all of that. We'll do that later today, but I figured I'd at least start to leak out the word. It's Wednesday after all. There's a restaurant in Stockholm called something like Meatballs for the World, and I want to sleep on the floor there. I'm sorry, but that's really funny to me. So funny. Well, here, so of these two burgers, one of them is going to be really, really hot. The other one will not be as hot. I bet you can guess which one they named the hot one after. Thank you, Ben Bacon is Meat, Candy Turner. I guess I should have known that the man with bacon in his name probably would have known where Bacon Thunder Burger was. I'm a big fan of meatballs myself. Yes, Amber, there will be trips to Illinois in the future. Absolutely 100%. There will be. Hey, Don in Wyoming. How are you? I love your, I see your avatar and I see the yellow of the, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm very excited about the burgers. My interview with Reese is going to be at the normal time that we do the lifeboat on. Right? We are going to be doing it at the normal 5 o'clock West Coast time. That said, it's not going to be a 1 hour show. There's no chance we get this done in an hour. There just isn't. This is not. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some laughs, but there might be some tears. This is good. This is not this is a show. This is a serious show. I've wanted to do this show for a really long time, and I think the time has come to do this. And Hummingbird, if you're not cleared by the surgeon, this is my new rule of thumb. You got to listen to doctors. So maybe we'll go to you. Stay where you are.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, stay where you are. Are you rubbing a skiing shirt? What does that say on it?
I shouldn't show the rest of it. It's not very appropriate for the boat.
No, skiing works.
It says I only care about skiing if I stand right here.
That's it. There you go. You're perfect. Yeah. And that's all you need. You know what? Do you have a list of questions for Reese, or are you going to let it flow? As a rule of thumb, I don't make lists of questions. I don't make bullet points. I don't do any of those things. Even when I was a public speaker. Yeah.
When you do, it's hard to sound good. You sound like you're reading a prompter when you do it that way, because you are.
I've never been able to. New York is not only a possibility, it is a reality. We will be doing New York heavy. I promise you. If you live in a major metropolitan hub, we're going. I mean, I promise. Like if you're in Atlanta, don't worry about it. If you're in New York, don't worry about it. If you're in one of the big cities, trust and believe we're going there. So it's just a matter of time.
Jeremy Shelton, we watched a documentary on the Bee Gees the other night that had us dying laughing all night. It had such Spinal Tap vibes. It was like a
It really did have Spinal Tap vibes. We watched it was hours of it too. Thank you, Candy. And you're gonna have to show off the guns there, Calhoun. Apparently the gun show is in town. Favorite where about in New York? You're in the Adirondacks, huh? I know New York pretty well. What part of the Adirondacks? Well, you don't have to get too personal, but exactly where in New York, we're not sure yet. But here's the reality. The reality is that, so I went to Florida for the book deal, which now it's turning into some other kind of a deal. Same people, same stuff, but I guess it may be a screenplay, and I don't know. But I went to Florida for that, and ran into a bunch of people from the boat. Right, I got to go out and meet some boat people, which was so cool. Right. Oh, I know exactly where you are. Oh, you lived there. Yeah, Don, I know where that is. Spanx is handsome, isn't he? But yeah, I lost it. Doesn't matter at this point. Anyway, thank God we're at the end of the show. Spinal Tap, the movie, is absolutely a classic. Oh, so what I was going to say was that after running into Reese and meeting everybody in Florida, go watch the show she did right after that. Once the connection thing begins to happen, there is a palpable effect on what happens to people when they actually begin to start. It was wild to see what happens to three guys who drive for 8 hours, right? Crunched up, uncomfortable. And then you walk into a place where it's nothing but connections with bunches of people who already know you. And it takes about 3 minutes for your energy level to go from, I'm tired, I want to lay down, I want to go to sleep, I don't want to go anywhere near any people, to, yeah, I could do this all day. Right? Wow, that is an unusual, from Clifton Park, New York to Torrington, Wyoming. Odd. Well, see, we got two people there from Wyoming. It's hard to find. They're really, you say any place now, and you'll find that the boat's got a couple of people there. Do you know why? Because there are tens of thousands of crew members. Did you say that? Hear that? Got that? Tens of thousands, Calvin.
Izzy, I saw you say earlier you got to save up a bunch of gas money. I don't think there's a reality where we don't go to Canada. So,
yeah, we're gonna have to figure. The one thing about Canada is this: people will say, felons can't go to Canada. It's true, felons can't go to Canada. However, Canada will let felons go to it. You just have to hop through some hoops. I worked in Canada, and I was a felon. We had a business that I did in Canada. I flew in and out of Canada. I cannot even begin to tell you how many times with a felony. You just have to. They have to know what's going on, and there's a process that you go through. But if you're not there to cause trouble and you're there to do business, or you're there to do something positive, they're absolutely cool about it. It's a little different down under. No offense to all of you Aussies, oi, 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 but they're a little tougher. They seem to be to run a tighter ship, so to speak. Did you see what I did there? I worked in that ship reference. So, all right, peeps, that pretty much takes us to the top of the hour. I am going to be live again today. Before I do the interview with Reese, there's some things that I've got some stuff I want to do. I really do want to do a thing on Diddy. It's just, man, I don't want to do the show that everyone else is doing. Let's just go with the assumption that Diddy's either gay or bi, and go, who cares, and move on, so that we can talk about the stuff that he did that's really foul and should be prosecuted. Right? That's the stuff that I think needs to be. It's like a smoke screen. It really is. It's like everybody's so preoccupied with the fact that this dude might be gay, and what famous stars has he been with. How about all the stuff that this guy's accused of doing? How about the fact that every room in this dude's house was wired for sound? Sound a little Epstein-y? Yeah, I'll go over that later today. All right, peeps. The diddler. I like it. Cup of coffee. I like it. You know what this is? That is a cat in a basket. Hold on one second. Kristen, have a great day. Hey, Kelly, B69, have a great day. Love your work. I'm a big fan. All right, everybody. Calhouni,
I'm in here.
I love you.
I love you.
All right. I will see all of you a little later in the day. Calhouni, have fun at the gym.
Yeah, man. I'll hit you up later.
All
I'm gonna
right.
get some stuff done.
You better.
All right.
All right, peeps.